Yo, welcome back to AG Sports. Guys, if you are watching this and you are subscribed, thank you very much. I will tell you right now, it really motivates me to keep making these videos and keep giving more content and really doing my homework on this side of things. So thank you, I appreciate that. Secondly, though, if you are not subscribed, you are probably going to want to subscribe because there are a few things I'm going to be giving away in this video. Some things that I personally think are really valuable, and I'm going to show you how to make them yourself. So if you want to make them yourself, this is a video to learn how. But if you don't want to go through all the trouble, if you don't have the time and you want to just, hey, you know what, just give me the page and I'll look at the damn numbers, I will do it for you and I'll send it to you and I'll do everything. But I do need you to subscribe, like the video obviously, and then we'll talk about how I'm going to get these things to you and what the hell I'm even talking about. So first of all, let's start with one thing. As the preseason is upon us now, if you did not already know, I already have a play out for the preseason week 1. It is the Vikings that I'm taking, so it's going to be Vikings plus 1.5 over the Broncos. If you didn't know, and if you haven't seen all the other videos, one of my biggest angles for preseason, and really what I look at most, is the coach and how much he emphasizes winning in the preseason. And I've said this in other videos, so if you've seen them, I apologize. It's just going to be kind of a rehash. But Mike Zimmer really loves winning in the preseason, and he's one of those guys, kind of like a John Harbaugh, where they think that winning is going to kind of set that mentality, set the stage for continued winning and success throughout the regular season. And I can't really disagree with him. I can't say he's wrong, because both of those guys have had great success in the regular season lately. That being said, though, what do we do about new coaches? The Chargers, for example, have a new coach. It's Brandon Staley, and his first preseason game ever is going to be against the Rams, and it's important for two reasons. One, it's travel. That's pretty much why they're doing it. They want it to be a game that's very close. The NFL, it is not him, not taking the pick. But secondly, he just worked for the Rams. He was the defensive coordinator for the Rams, and he's a Sean McVay product. He did work other places before that, and one thing that I thought was kind of important is that he worked with the Broncos before the Rams, and he worked with the Bears. Now the Bears, that was back in 2017, but the Broncos and the Rams, both of those teams really don't like the preseason. They don't put any emphasis on it at all, and that's why I'm actually taking the Vikings over the Broncos for preseason week 1. There wasn't a preseason last year, so the 2 years prior, the Broncos have a 3-5 record in preseason, and 2 of those wins came in the very last game of each of those preseasons, which, if you've watched football at all, you know those games are just total toss-ups, like who doesn't screw up, right, or who screws up the least. But anyway, so the Chargers and the coach Staley, I don't know if he's going to put an emphasis on preseason. I don't think he has really had anybody around him that says preseason is really important, so I can't guarantee he's going to really care. At the same time, though, there's a few things that kind of point to him maybe wanting to win this game in particular. So one, this is his very first game as a head coach, and just like anybody else, you want to get off to a good start. You want to get that W. You want to show the people that just hired you and your team and everybody else that, hey, I know what the hell I'm doing. I can get us a win. Whether it's preseason or not, it doesn't matter. He wants to get that, like, hey, guys, you need to believe in me. I have the right system here. And he's going to also try to prove it to himself, like, hey, I know what the hell I'm doing. I belong in this chair. So that's one thing that I think will kind of lead him to the win. And if you go back through the years, you'll notice that a lot of first-time head coaches, or even if it's a coach that's coached before, but this is their first time with this team, they tend to at least try to win that first preseason game. And a lot of that is because of exactly what I just said. They want to prove to the people that hired them, most importantly, like, hey, I have an idea of what the hell I'm doing and where I want to go with this team. Secondly, though, Sean McVay, like I said, was just working with this guy. He just had him as a coordinator. And so a lot of times we see established coaches that, they obviously don't care about the preseason. The Rams, if you didn't already know this, they're one of the teams that just does not give a shit about the preseason at all. Like, if he could, I'm sure Sean McVay would just not even play him. He'd put guys on there that are like he's purposely going to cut. Like, he does not care. So I think he is totally fine and okay with kind of laying down for this one and saying, you know what, I'm gonna give my friend, this guy who was just working with me, that I got him a job, and I'm sure he helped somehow put the name out there. Just the fact that he's on the Sean McVay coaching tree helps. I'm gonna kind of take the knee. I'm gonna let him get his win, look good, and help him out. And so that's maybe being a little narrative-y of me, but I've seen it before, and I believe we're gonna see it again. Now, those two reasons together kind of make me believe that the Chargers would be the right side on this one. And that just combined with, I know that Sean McVay isn't going to try, regardless of who he's playing with. Sean McVay is just not going to try. He's not going to try to get this W. He's not going to try to show any more than he has to out of this playbook. So that alone should have us lean towards the Chargers. As of right this second, the line is Chargers minus 3.5. So it looks like the books are tending to agree with me on this one. And as much as I don't think they would like to go to minus 3, I believe you're going to see more and more of the general public betting the Rams just because it's the Rams. They know the name, they know the coach, they probably know a little bit more of the team. And then most importantly, you just have more Rams fans. General public fan guy is going to lay his $10, his $20 on the Rams just for the hell of it because that's his team. And I totally get that. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to see that line drop to minus 3. Probably right before kickoff or, that day sometime. So be on the lookout for this one. I'm not going to take it just yet. I don't like the minus 3.5. If you want to buy it down to 3, you can. I don't really suggest buying it down. Not that I won't. I mean, I will. I will buy 2 a key numbers. That's fine. I just think in this case, you don't have to do that. I think if you're patient, you will find a 3 somewhere, one of these books. And so, like I said, that's something we want to be looking out for. Aside from this play, guys, the other things I want to show you is handicapping and what I do to handicap. And these are kind of the things that I'm going to be giving away for free and what they can do to help your win percentage as far as gambling is concerned. So the 3 things that I like to look at as far as betting on games is concerned is coaching, players, and trends. Trends I've already gone over. A lot of the videos that I made over the summer and that I've been making have been a lot of trends and like scheduling advantages, disadvantages, all that kind of stuff. And that's perfectly fine. That's actually a really good angle. But now we need to look at the coaches and the players. Now, how do you evaluate a coach? You might think like, okay, well, Bill Belichick is good, or Sean Payton is good, but it's a very arbitrary, like, yeah, I think he's good. If I had a power rank coaches, I'd put him towards the top, right? Well, I do have a little algorithm here where I actually give each coach a grade. Now this is proprietary, and I'll show you how to build it, but there is some stuff that's just going to be like my personal info, and if you decide that you want to follow what I'm telling you here later, I'll give it to you every week, and that way you don't even have to worry about building it. So we have every team, every grade obviously, and then some of the info I take into it. So 1 score game win percentage. So does the coach know how to win in close games? It's great if you can win by 14 or 20 or 30 or whatever. That's awesome. That's wonderful, and it's great. But you need to know how to win the tight games, because when a good team plays another good team, it very rarely ends in a blowout. Most games in the NFL are going to be closer games, and it's going to be like 7 points or less, a 1 score percentage game. So we need to know which coach can pull out these wins, and that takes a lot. You got to have good time management. You got to have good play calling. You got to have obviously the players to get the win, and you got to put yourself in that position to even be available to get that win. So some of the coaches that have great ones for win percentages, like Sean Payton has a really great one just off the top of my head. So 63%, and Andy Reid at 100%. But I mean, it's Andy Reid, right? And the other thing is how many one-score games did they have? So some teams are, really, really good, and so they don't have too many one-score games. Others are just kind of bad, and they also don't have too many one-score games. Last year, if we look at the 49ers, they only had 4 one-score games, and that team isn't bad, but the injuries caused them to really be in a lot of games that probably should have been closer if they were healthy. But that's one of the bigger keys to this algorithm is the one-score game percentage. EDSR stands for early down success rate. So how good are these teams at totally skipping third down? I know a lot of the emphasis when you're actually watching the game is like, oh, this team is 3 for 3 on third downs, or they're 4 or 5 on third downs, whatever it is, and that's helpful. But I would rather have a team that just totally skips third down and goes first, second, and kind of keeps themselves out of those positions. The EDSR is how many times are they getting at least half of the yardage needed to get the first down on first and second down. So higher EDSR means you are completing better plays, basically, not just passes, but your plays are going for further distances, and they're accumulating more first downs. And the more first downs you have, the less third downs you have. Obviously, the longer you keep the ball, the higher your percentage chances of scoring. So EDSR is going to be pretty important, but we also have it on defense. So how many times is the defense keeping the other team from getting that first down? Pass rate, run rate, those are all just numbers that are out there for you. They don't take up huge weight in this grading. Then we also have QBR. So QBR is a big one. And if you didn't know this, QBR, quarterback rating, I think it seems like an arbitrary thing for a lot of people. Like, yeah, okay, QBR great. He had a lot of touchdowns and no interceptions or whatever, so he has a good rating. Awesome. What it actually means, as far as like the math behind it, when they first created QBR, is how many times should this person win over the other person as far as a quarterback is concerned. So, like, let's take, I'm here on the Bills, let's say Josh Allen versus the Bears. And now last year, this would have been with, I'm trying to think of which one was our last quarterback. Trubisky, that's right. So, how many times would Josh Allen beat Trubisky in a game? And this has basically about 26% of the time, 27% of the time. So Josh Allen, if he plays at the level that he's capable of, he should win about 80% of games, whereas Mitch Trubisky should win only about 53, 54% of his games. And that's honestly worked out to be about true. But obviously if they played each other, then you have Josh Allen coming out winning more than Trubisky. So that's what QBR means, and that's why it is put into the weighting as far as your coaching is concerned, because your coach can be great and can call great plays and do wonderful things on paper, but at the end of the day, you need a quarterback who's going to give you that chance to go and actually execute your plan. So that's why this is in, even though it's a coaching grade. And then you also have things like blitz, turnovers, all that kind of stuff. And this is it is correlated, but this is also more a way to kind of track some trends. So if a coach is really heavy on the blitz, he is typically going to stay heavy on the blitz unless you have something really change his mind, which is something like an impact player or a team that's done really, really great against the blitz. But in order to kind of make that change, it needs to be a good coach in the first place. Good coaches adapt, and they take what the other team is going to give them, and they know how to use it. Bad coaches are going to try to run their game and establish the run, and they're going to get their ass kicked most of the time. So that's why I have these coaching grades. And while, again, I can't show you what all goes into this grade, I can show you, or can tell you, that last year, at the beginning of the season, this grading report card was about 50% accurate, meaning that whoever had the higher grade not only won, but they won by about the margin that I'm thinking they're going to win. Each grade point is worth about 0.6 points. So just some quick math here. If you have, let's say, 43 for Cliff Kingsbury times 0.6, 26. So you would round that. You can keep 26 or round it to 27, but that would be about 26 to 27 points scored. And the reason I would round up is because it's pretty hard to get to 26 points in the NFL. 26 to 27 points. So at the beginning of the season, like I said, it's about 50% accurate, mainly because there's not a lot of data points yet, and a lot of this is going off of last season's info. As we get into the season, though, it gets better and better and better as we go, and by the second half of the season, this report card here actually jumps up to about 66% accuracy. So from week 8 through week 18 this year, It's roughly the last 3 years I've been doing this. It sits between about 66 to 70% accurate as far as picking winners, and then picking the margins is about 66%. So it's pretty accurate. The only thing is, a lot of times it'll give you the right numbers, but the spread is not going to match. So this might tell you, hey, one team is going to win by 3 points or the other, but the spread is like -3.5 or something like that. So it's still not 100% play. It's going to give you the right team to pick for the most part, but now you got to find the line. So, like I said, this is something that I find just invaluable. It helps me, and it gives you a good starting point at the beginning of every week. So you look at trends first, which is the other video that I did, and I'll send out that spreadsheet as well to give you a couple games that, hey, I want to highlight these, and then you can come here and say, okay, well, this team should win, or this coach is expected to beat this coach, X amount of times. So that's one thing. The next is players. Now, how do you rate players, and who has already done it? Well, I'm pretty sure most of you guys have played Madden, and if you haven't, you should probably get on that. But Madden, as you know, rates every single player in the NFL down to the lineman, the punter, the kicker, all that stuff. There's not too many places that do that, and the places that do that are not Madden, not to say that they're not accurate, I'm sure that they are, but they don't have as much of an incentive to get things right. Madden has people working around the clock, basically, all year long to try to get these ratings right. They have to appease not just the people who are playing the video game, but also the players. Some GMs in the NFL actually use Madden ratings for like different bonuses and things, so they have to take that into account. And then you just have a lot of other kind of attributes that get mixed into Madden. So they have a lot of incentive to get these things right. And I will tell you right now, this algorithm I'm going to show you was not my own. I actually picked this up from a book, and the name of the book was Picking NFL Winners by Masaru Kanemoto. Sorry for mispronouncing that, but I don't even think that's this guy's real name. I think he used that as like a pseudonym. But he's the one who created this algorithm, and he shows you how to do it in his book. You can buy the book on Amazon. I'll try and get the link in the comments below. But this book teaches you how to do it, and it shows you kind of the way he has set it up. The only thing I did is I actually went out and created it and got all the numbers and plugged everything in, and this is what it spit out. And I was surprised that it was pretty damn accurate, not just with what I believed, but with what the lines actually are. So I'm only picking 4 teams that I really want to focus on this year, and by doing that, I'm going to start off kind of small with, hey, like these are the 4 teams I'm really in tune with, and then as the season goes on, I watch them play against other teams, I look at the other grades for other teams, and then I can kind of branch out from there. So by week 5, week 6, I have a good like half of the NFL that I'm pretty spot on with, whether it's grading or handicapping or whatever. But let's take a look at what's into this algorithm. So this is really the big chunk here as far as like where his numbers are coming from. So coefficient means how many points is each difference worth. So like difference quarterback ranking. So for every 1 point advantage you have in the ranking, your team should get about 0.23 points as far as the benefit. So like in this one, it's the Cowboys versus the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers obviously are starting Brady, so Brady's 10 points better than Dak, which means that they should start off with about a 2.3 point spread, meaning that just strictly off of quarterbacks, we should favor the Buccaneers by about 2.3 points. Obviously, home field advantage. Now, I put 2. In the book, he puts, like, I think, 2.6 or 2.5. The book was published a few years ago, and what I've learned from my own research and just from keeping up with my own numbers, things like that, is that the home field advantage is no longer 3 points. It was at one point, and I think at 2.5 was even, like, okay not too long ago. But travel has become a lot easier. Scheduling is a lot more set now. It's a lot more forethought goes into these travel arrangements, and there's just more people out there saying like, hey, this needs to be as fair as possible. So the travel isn't really a big issue. So I dropped it down from 2.6 to 2, just 2 straight, and that's my own. So if you wanted to rebuild this and you want to use it with 2.6, go ahead. I'm only using 2. Next is difference in offensive ranking, defensive ranking, and then these two here we don't have yet for the first game of the season, and that's going to be the difference in average starting field position and the difference in offensive DVOA. So these two we can't put into week 1. Now we can use it week 2, but I will let you know this is not going to be totally accurate until we get further into the season, and it's usually by like week 4 that we have a really good benchmark where we can say, okay, these are pretty accurate at this point, and they've showed us kind of more or less what they're going to be for the year. Now, this probability here, what this means is how likely is it that whatever ranking we're using has absolutely no effect on the game. So, difference in quarterback ranking, there's a 0.0001% chance that that's not going to come into play, meaning that your difference in quarterback ranking is most definitely going to come into play. Difference in average starting field position is 18% chance that it doesn't come into play. So when that becomes a number we can use, we kind of have to take it with a grain of salt because there's a decent chance that it's just not going to really play out. But that's the main setup for these. Now, as far as offense and defense, how do you rank the offense and how do you rank the defense? So your offense is going to be ranked, obviously, per each player, but they're weighted a little bit differently. So your wide receivers are going to be worth 1.2, offensive line is 1.1, your center by himself is 0.08, tight end 0.08, halfback's 0.08. So the way that you would set this up is you use these numbers here, literally just go to Madden.com, look up the rankings for the team, and you fill it in. So what's wide receiver 1 ranked at, 2, 3, and so on. The only one that you have to do some averaging on is the offensive line because it's everybody but the center. But you put these in here, plug it into the algorithm, and it'll shoot you out a number. Now you're going to take this, the total of this number, divide it by 10 for the 10 starting players there are, and you get an overall offense. 27.93 for the Cowboys, 27.43 for the Bucks. So we actually have a little bit of an advantage there for the Cowboys, which not very much, but it's something. So on defense, you're going to take same approach, same math basically is going to go behind it. The only difference is the weighting. And so the corner and the defensive end, obviously at 1.5, and linebacker 1.2. Feel free to just pause the video at this point if you want to create this on your own, and if you want to do it for some other teams that I don't have here, because these are the 4 teams I'm sticking with, at least for the first 4 weeks of the season. But this is how you would do it. Same thing, you go to Madden.com, get the numbers, plug them in, and here you go. Here's your overall defense for both. So you have your defense, offense, quarterback. Here's your differences. You're going to multiply the difference by this correlating number. So, like, again, for quarterback, it's 0.23, and it's going to spit out an advantage. So the Buccaneers have 2.3 advantage on quarterback, about 2.6 on defense, and then they have a 2-point advantage because of home field advantage. Minus the 0.13 for the offense that the Cowboys bring, and you come up with a spread of minus 6.84. Now, the spread to begin the season in the summer was Buccaneers minus 6.5, and it has now moved up to Cowboys minus 7. Now, you might be thinking, why didn't they just start off with Cowboys minus 7? Because that's pretty much what this would tell us. And I think a lot of that is people just love the Cowboys. Hate them or love them, they're still America's team. They're still going to get a lot of publicity. There's still going to be a lot of hype around them, and people are going to bet them. So knowing that that number is going to jump, and knowing that they don't want it to go from 7 to above 7 when they go to 7.5, they started off at 6.5 and let it go to 7. That's the way it works. So that's this number, and that means that the line that they have right now is a pretty tight line. There's not a lot of value to be mined from that. The Patriots game, and this is the one I'll do next, and I'm not going to go through it all over again. If you want to do it again, feel free to pause it, take these numbers down, whatever you want to do. But here's where they have it at. Now, on the Patriots game, after doing all the math on this one, they actually come out to the Patriots as a 4-point favorite. And remember that I came out and I changed this home field advantage to 2 instead of 2.6. So if we were using the 2.6, you're actually talking about like 4.5 to 5-point favorite for the Patriots, or what they should be. Now, I personally love the Patriots already. As far as like this particular game, game 1 is going to be against the Dolphins, and I had already made the bet. But had I not, this would have definitely, just been confirmation to go ahead and put that in there. This predicted score is based upon my coaching report card and the numbers that spit out. So it gave me 24 to 21. Either way, though, the Pats right now are actually -2.5 as far as the line. Now, I do think the same thing on this one. As we get closer to game one, and you see more and more people jumping on and making their bets and things, you're going to see that number jump up to -3. So at some point, it is going to get to -3. At that point, I don't think you necessarily want to grab it anymore. If you're going to get it, you want to get it right now. The only thing I think might help in this one is that the Patriots fans, they seem to not really like taking the Patriots against the Dolphins in particular. So yes, they're rabid fans. Yes, they love their team. But every year when they play the Dolphins, and I'm not a Patriots fan at all. I just follow the NFL, and I know when they play the Dolphins, I hear a lot of talk about the Dolphins have our number. Hate going down to Miami, blah blah blah. Now this game is in New England, so maybe that's going to be a little bit different. But it's possible that they don't get the steam that I'm thinking they're going to. But either way, you want to grab this number before it gets to 3. Rams. Now this one threw me off the other way. I had the Rams really just coming out and crushing the Bears in my own mind, and based off of trends and things like that. My report card spit out again a 24 to 21 game, meaning that the Rams are going to be a lot closer than I thought, and it's about, as of right now, it's Rams -7 is the line. Now I did the Madden rankings to see if maybe my report card was off, or just to confirm hey, I'm the one that's off. And even with the home field advantage and the just a difference really at quarterback, which is what I thought was going to play a big role in this, the Rams only come out with a 2.3% or 2.3 spread on this, and as of right now, it's Rams -7, like I said. So that's a pretty big value for the Bears if you want to take the Bears. Now, that all being said, I'm still not really sold on it, and I'm actually teasing the Rams. So I'm going to tease them down to 1, and that's either way, it's going to give me some value on this line. But I got to tell you, I was really surprised when I saw both this algorithm and the report card spit out pretty similar spread. So take that for what you will. If you want to see the numbers on this one so you don't have to go and grab everything from Madden one at a time, feel free. Just, again, pause it, take that. Like I said, I'm still going to personally be teasing the Rams, and if you want to know, I'm actually teasing the Rams with the Buccaneers. So it'll be Bucs -1 versus the Cowboys, and then Rams -1 versus the Bears. And that'll be week 1. Next is the Ravens, though. And the Ravens, here against, same thing. They're coming out with about a 1-point spread, meaning that they should be 1-point favorites. Now, this is an away game, so the Raiders, as of right now, it's kind of playing in their favor. I don't think it's really going to make much of a difference, not for week 1, as far as the Raiders are concerned, because the Raiders, while yes, they've been decent at home, they're going up against a team that is just lighting people up week 1. And I, for one reason or another, tend to believe that trend and put more weight in that trend than in just the player rankings. My coaching report card did show that the Ravens should be about 3-point favorites, so it's a little bit different. So we got 1-point favorite from Madden, 3-point favorites from my coaching report card, and then a -4.5 from Vegas. Like I said, I think the Ravens are just going to blow this team out of the water. So the reason I'm showing you this one, though, and the reason I want to kind of talk about this one for a second is, as a handicapper and as a bettor, if you haven't been doing it very long, the normal life cycle of a betting analyst is when you first start, you go strictly off field. I think I like this team over this team. This team has a better quarterback than this team, and that's all you're going to do. And maybe you're decent at that, and maybe you go 50-50. And then after that, you'll start getting into statistics and numbers and analytics and all that stuff, and you'll say, I kind of like this team, but my paper says this, and the spread says this, and the algorithm I'm using shows this. And that's great, but as we all know, NFL doesn't go on a script. It's not a static thing. Numbers can only tell you so much. You got to kind of put those two things together. And so eventually you will get into the habit of look, I'm not just going to take a blind number because the numbers came out this way. I need to also use kind of my own intuition and my eyeballs to say, like, this team is just better than this team. So with all those things together, I'm still betting the Ravens minus 4.5 week 1. That might come back to bite me in the ass. I'm just telling you, I'm still doing it and kind of putting these things together, the trends plus all this stuff. I have no doubt that the Ravens are going to win, or they should win, assuming everybody is healthy. But the spread is probably the one thing I would be concerned with. That all being said, I'm taking it. I'm not saying you have to or you should. I'm just saying I will. Like I said, though, as these things, you can build them yourself. You have all the numbers here in front of you to do that. Kind of walk you through a quick little step on how to do it. If you want to get these things for free, there's 2 ways to do it. So, yes, like I said, please like and subscribe to the video. But secondly, if you want to go through Twitter, you can go to Twitter, find me at AG Sports. Just add me on there, and then send me a DM saying, hey, can I get the free spreadsheets? I'll email it to you. I'll send it to you. We can talk about how you want it over there. The only issue with that is that I don't have a way, and I apologize, guys. I'm not going to make another spreadsheet to keep track of everybody's email. So if you want those, and you're going to want them updated every week, because every week they're going to change a little bit, whether it's injuries or coaching changes or whatever, you'll have to get back on there and DM me and let me know, like, hey, can I get the new one? And that's fine. So if you want to do that, go ahead. If you want to do it a different way, I do have a store that I run. It's kind of like my 9 to 5 at this point. It's a comic trading store. That's not the point. What I would need you to do, though, is if you want to come to the store, it's chewychurro.com. There is a newsletter down here. Put your email address in there, hit subscribe. I don't really send many emails out regarding like the comics and stuff, but what it will do is it will automatically generate your name on a list, like on a mailing list, and that way I can send these things out to you as they come out. So every week I can just pull up that list, make one email, and it'll go out to everybody. So if you want to do that, that's the easier way for me, and that's the easier way for you to not have to keep reminding me every week that you want it. So that may be the best route to go if you want to do that. And like I said, I'm not going to be flooding your inbox with a bunch of like comic stuff or stuff you don't want related. On that note, though, last thing I want to say is I am going to be giving something away for free other than just the spreadsheets. So this card here is a Tom Brady 97 championship card with his Buccaneers win, of course. So this card here, totally free. Just comment below, hey, free card, whatever. Just give me some sort of comment below. We'll say Saturday, the day that we're going to be having the game, which is the Vikings game. I'll go ahead and I'll just pick a random comment and I'll send you this card. I'll let you know you want it. You just send me your address. So if you want the card, you want a shot at winning this card, just put in the comment below. So like I said, guys, we have free stuff going out, free info basically, between coaching report cards, Madden ratings report cards, I guess, or Madden ratings algorithms, and then we have free picks. So remember that Chargers pick, keep looking for it to go down to -3. Also, Vikings plus 1.5. I don't think you necessarily need to rush to go get that one, but if you want to, grab it while it's still at plus 1.5. Feel free. And then we also have a giveaway. So, put a lot in this video. It was a little bit longer. If you have any questions on how to build the algorithm, or if you want some tips on that, let me know. Like I said, either find me at AG Sports on Twitter or comment below. I'll reach out to you, whatever you might need help with. This is all free, guys. I'm not trying to sell you on any of the algorithm stuff. There's a lot of other stuff out there. There's a lot of other ways to do it. So this isn't the only way. And feel free to use all the other stuff. I find everything works better if you kind of use it in conjunction and not just focus on one particular route. But thank you again, guys, for viewing AG Sports. I will be back later in the week, maybe with some more preseason info, but also with some more look aheads as far as getting into the regular season and then maybe evaluating what's going to happen this weekend or what did happen with some preseason games. But thanks again. Have a great day.